Okay, today we're looking at Module 1, Lesson 5, Solving Problems by Finding Equivalent Ratios. So here's the beautiful thing. We're learning nothing new today. We're just going to apply what we've been learning in a new way. I love this lesson. When I saw this lesson last year, I was like, oh my gosh, this is genius. I never thought of it this way. So I'm very excited to do this lesson with you today. So looking at today's notes, which is page 15 in your modules, hopefully you already have the date on top of the page, 9/12. So let's read the first example. A county superintendent of highways is interested in the numbers of different types of vehicles that regularly travel within this county. In the month of August, a total of 192 registrations were purchased for passenger cars and pickup trucks at the local Department of Motor Vehicles, which is abbreviated DMV. The DMV reported that in the month of August, for every 5 passenger cars registered, there were 7 pickup trucks registered. How many of each type of vehicle were registered in the county in the month of August? Oh my gosh, that's a lot of words. So basically, nobody here drives yet, right? Nobody has their license? Okay. My son gets his learner's permit in a few months, and it's giving me, oh, I should go already. But so what happens is when you get a car, you have to register it. It's one of those stickers on the windshield. And that just gives the town an idea of how many cars are on the road. And it keeps the cars safe, and it's just taking our money. But there's a reason for it, I'm sure. So basically, that's what it means. So of all the cars that are registered, like you have to register for school, you have to register your car. So that's what all that blah, 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 blah means. So get to the point. What is the information now we need? What is the gist? First of all, what are the two things being compared? There are 3 numbers there. Don't get confused with 3 sets of numbers. What are the 2 things being compared in this ratio?
Passenger cars and pickup trucks.
Beautiful. Let's underline that information. Passenger cars to pickup trucks. And what do these people want from us? What is the question that we're trying to answer? How many of each type of vehicle were registered? Okay. So we said the 2 things. Let's go make our little cheat sheet over in the corner. We're looking at cars to trucks, which was 5 to 7. Now, they looked at 192. That was our grand total for the whole month. So 5 to 7 is actually, I hate to say simplifying it. Somebody did ask the other day if we could simplify ratios. And in a sense, we kind of are. Because what's 5 plus 7? 12. So we're looking at a total of 192. So clearly, it's not a total of 12 cars. So of the 192 cars that were registered, some were trucks, some were cars. They were able to simplify the ratio down. So maybe on Monday, 12 people came in to register their car. So on August 1st, 12 people registered their car. Of those 12 people, 5 were cars, 7 were trucks. August 2nd, 12 people came in. 5 were cars, 7 were trucks, and so on. So we're looking at it in chunks of 12, 5 to 7, 5 to 7. Eventually, those 5 to 7s are going to add up to a total of 192. So does everybody understand what that 192 means? Yes. Okay, good, because that threw first period for a loop. Okay, so now that we understand what it means, let's get cracking. We're going to start off by writing 4 ratios. Underline those key words. What do they want from us? That's one of the big changes that we've seen in the curriculum, a lot of words, which is not a bad thing. It's helping us learn how to read and figuring out what they want. What do we want? 4 ratios. So somebody give me a ratio. They already did one.
10 to 14.
Where'd you get 10 and where'd you get 14 from?
I got 10 from the cars and 14.
Oh, you're giving me equivalent ratios, which is correct, but not exactly what I obviously didn't make my question clear. That is an equivalent ratio, but I don't want equivalent ratios. I want this information written 4 different ways. Okay? So,
Instead of putting the dots, you can do 5 right outside.
oh, okay, we could. That's definitely something we do. I want to rearrange this 4 different ways. So if we did cars to trucks, first of all, is cars to trucks part to part or part to whole? On that August 1st, of the 12 people that came in, part of them are cars, part of them are trucks. Is that part to part or part to whole? Part to part. Whatever I write on the board, you're writing in your notes. What's another ratio? If we did cars to trucks, we could do... Oh, you picked that dance up much faster than first period. I must have burned off my whole breakfast doing this scarecrow dance first period because nobody was catching on to that. Okay, so yes, if we did cars to trucks, we could do trucks to cars, which is 7 to 5, and that is a part-to-part ratio. What would a part-to-whole ratio be?
7s or 92.
No, but I totally understand why you said that. Then somebody said that first period too. 192 represents the total, not the whole in the ratio. And this is kind of confusing for me to explain. Think about of the 12 cars, there were 5 and 7. Not of the 192, there were 5 and 7. So do you see the difference? And this is actually going to become much more clear in the next part. So if you're still a little fuzzy, that's okay. I promise I'm going to explain it in about 2 minutes. Okay, 7 to 12. Now what does that mean? 7 are the... What is the 12?
The trucks and cars.
So what word can we use that would represent the cars and the trucks? What would a good word be? Vehicles, good. I always spell vehicles wrong, but fortunately I have notes to go back to and look at. So give me another, oh, and we said that was part to whole. What's happening to my pretty cars? Give me another one.
12.
Beautiful. 5 to 12. And that is cars to vehicles, and that's part to whole. Okay? Now that 192 is going to come into play now, and it'll make more sense. Let's do a quick Flashback Friday. Flashback Friday. Let's flash all the way back to yesterday. Okay, so when we had, like, if let's do Oreos to Chips Ahoy, my 2 favorite cookies. And like I said, I saw a sign yesterday that said teachers cannot live on apples alone. So if the Oreos to Chips Ahoy were a 2 to 3 ratio, if the 3 in my ratio represented 12 Chips Ahoy, which I could do without even blinking, what would each unit be? If I had to take this 12 and spread it out into those 3 boxes, what would my constant be?
4.
So how many Oreos? 8. Okay? We're good with that? So now what would be my total number of cookies? Now remember, I had 2 to 3. So my part to whole would have been 2 to 5 or 3 to 5. So in my ratio, my 5 was my whole. But is my 5 my total number of cookies? No. What's my total number of cookies? Everybody? 20. Which, when my daughter has a tantrum, piece of cake. Ha, no pun intended. I'll have cake too. Okay, so do you see the difference in a part to whole? Your whole is like how many boxes you have in your ratio. But your total is like the total amount of cookies. Do you see the difference? Okay. Oh, I love it when somebody goes, oh. So now let's apply our flashback to the trucks and the cars. So let's make a tape diagram for the trucks and the cars. So what came first, cars or trucks? Remind me. Cars. Okay, draw this. And how many cars were there?
5,
And how many trucks?
7.
Thank you. You have your notes to look at. I don't have the notes in front of me. I did not do a very good job of drawing my boxes all the same size, but you know that you should. And also the 5 trucks should line up nicely with your 5 cars. Okay, everybody draw that. So how many equal size parts or units does the tape diagram consist of? What did we say our whole was? How many units are there? Everybody?
12.
12. Whoops. But now, what quantity does this represent? Think about my cookie example. I had 5 boxes total. I had 5 boxes. But what did those boxes really represent? What was the total that those boxes represented? Everybody? 20 cookies. Hey, what's 20 divided by 5? 4. And that was our constant. So now think about that when we're looking at these vehicles. My 12 boxes represents what? What was my total number?
192.
Right. That's where that number goes. That for the whole month of August, there were 192 vehicles. So now, if, I can find the right button. If all 12 of these boxes, all 12 of those boxes equals 192. What does one box equal? Think back to how we did it here. We knew that we knew that the 12 had to go into the 3 boxes. Now we have to take that 192 and go into all 12 boxes. So how am I going to do that? Yeah, divide what? 192 divided by 12. God bless you. This issue's on my desk. So what is that? Good thing we practiced our long division in our do nows this week. 16. We got rapid fire division over there. Trust her, if you didn't get to finish it out, she's correct. So now each box, we can go back to our tape diagram. Each box is 16. So how many of each, this is finally the question that they wanted to know. How many of each car, of each type of vehicle? So cars, we have 5 times 16. And for trucks, we have 7 times 16. Good thing we practiced our long multiplication in our do now. So it's almost like I knew what was happening. Never. Okay. So, what's 5 times 16? 80. So there were 80 cars. And what's 7 times 16? The image is just going to appear to me like magic. I'm going to go with 112.
Yeah.
Okay? Or maybe I just read the answer off the answer key.
Yeah. That might be not working.
Okay. Shh. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Now the next problem, continuing on page 16. So far we looked at using the tape diagrams 2 different ways. We looked at using the tape diagram. Oh, that's terrible tape diagram, Mrs. Lebusky. where we looked at the 1 bar and knew that was 4. The second tape diagram we looked at, we had the total, which was 5, and we knew that the total maybe equaled 15. So if the total equaled 15, what was each box worth? 3. Okay? So we looked at using the tape diagrams 2 different ways so far. Right? We're going to look at another way. Oh, I know! This is so exciting. Okay. So, the superintendent of highways is really interested in this stuff. I can't imagine what his Matchbox car collection must look like when he was a little boy. But anyway, he's interested in the number of commercial vehicles that frequently use the county's highway. Commercial vehicles are cars or vans or trucks that have like ads on the side. You know, like business trucks and so on. So it's as if they're not allowed to go on certain roads. You'll see on the license plate it says commercial vehicles on the license plate. You have to register those differently. So he obtains information from the DMV for the month of September. Now we're looking at September, so our numbers are different. He finds that for every, there's our verbal keyword, underline it with me because we're running out of time. 14 non-commercial vehicles, there were 5 commercial vehicles. So there's our ratio. So start drawing your tape diagram. We have non-commercial was 14, commercial was 5. So that's our basic ratio. So you carefully draw your tape diagram. Make sure that your 5 commercial vehicles, line up under your 5 non-commercial vehicles. Trust me, it's going to help you with the next part. Okay? So let's continue. What piece of information comes next? If there were 108 more non-commercial vehicles. All right. Don't write this part down. You're going to help me out. 108. Does that represent the commercial vehicles? No. Does the 108 represent the total non-commercial vehicles? No. Does the 108 equal the total vehicles? No. It represents 108 more non-commercial. So we have to see how many more non-commercial. So now write that down. We're looking at how many more non-commercial there are. So how many boxes are how many more boxes are represented by the 108? How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many boxes? 9. So I'm going to come over to my margin. 108 divided by 9. What is 108 divided by 9? I'm just going to point, so I don't like to say names when I'm blogging. 12? Yes? No? Yes. 12. So that means each of these is 12 because we're looking at how many more. There were 108 more non-commercial. But what do I know? That is a constant. So if that's 12, they're all 12. Now, can I find out what each one is?
Yes.
Yes. So for non-commercial, is 14 times 12. Commercial equals 5 times 12. I know off the top of my head that's 60. And 14 times 12. Alright, try the 1. Go look at the cheat sheet because we're running out of time. And the answer is 168. And that is our answer. 168 non-commercial and 60 commercial. So when you're doing your homework, think about the given. They are giving you the piece of information. Wait a minute. They're giving you the piece of information. You have to decide where in the tape diagram it goes.